Arm-In Guillotine yesterday. I'm not quite happy with that, so I want to go over that again today. And then, provided how that goes, maybe go over into the Darce and the Anaconda. Because those are all, we're working on a position I call the Kosoto position. And we're working on a couple of chokes that you can chain together from that position. And I'm not happy with the way the Arm-In Guillotine is working, so I want to focus on that a bit. I'm not going to choke you out. I accidentally choked him out yesterday. But not with this choke, because this is actually a choke I'm very bad at, and I'm trying to get better at myself, and I think if I need work on it, we all probably need work on it. So just a quick summary, there are basically three types of guillotine. There are three types of guillotine chokes. I don't care what anyone else says, there are only three. People try to say there's like 5 or 6 or whatever, and they're all just variations of these three. So the first one is kind of what I call the high risk guillotine. It's where I'm like this, and I use the half part to choke. The other one is the Guillotine, where I take my hand and go over like this. And the third one, and it's the one I have the biggest problem with personally, is the Arm-In Guillotine, where I'm basically in a front headlock position. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. The high risk guillotine is a pretty good balance of power and entry. It's got a lot of power. You can accidentally choke someone out before you finish that one. We found out yesterday. And it's moderate to get in. Sometimes it's hard to get your hand up, but it doesn't have as many moving parts as some other versions. The Guillotine is, I think, the most difficult to get, but it's also the most powerful because you've got all of your arms going in, and you can really get a lot of power on that choke, and it gets really tight. The weakest of the three is actually the Arm-In Guillotine. It's the one that has the most space, where you have the most moving parts to make sure that you get that thing to work. But it's the easiest to get. If you watch a tournament, you're going to see this is like the go-to guillotine that most people go to try to hit, just because it presents itself the most, because it's of the three the easiest position to get. Okay, so I tried going into it a bit yesterday. That footage is not going on YouTube because I'm not happy with it. I want to spend a bit more time focusing on some aspects of it today, because I think I tried to do it too quickly yesterday. So I just want to start with first the basic grip, just on all fours. So in terms of entry, so our whole idea is that he's in this situation of he's tried to go for a single leg, and basically I sprawl him out, and we're kind of in this position. So this sort of both of us are trying to finish something here. So in order for the Arm-In Guillotine entry, I take my hand, come here on across his face, and I'm doing what's called a down block. Okay, this is already uncomfortable for him because I'm shoving his head in a different direction than he wants to go. He wants his head going into me, and I'm pushing it the other way. And with my leg, I also use the counter force to extend and free my leg. Okay, and just for the head entry right now, what I'm doing is I get a nice chin strap, and I'm not pulling as much as I'm shifting to my other side and pulling his head out. Actually, let's turn around so that I can show that to camera really well. Okay, so and here, and I spread out, chin strap, and I'm not just pulling with my arm, I'm actually moving my body to the other side, and now I get this nice opening here, and I can get a good grip on the chin. My arm now goes here, and I get a front headlock position. This is my entry for the Arm-In Guillotine right now. I don't want to go to choking mechanics yet. I want to spend just a little bit of time just drilling this, okay? Just this entry, because that's getting this head and neck separated and open like that. You're going to need that for all of your chokes. It's not just helpful for the Arm-In Guillotine. It helps with this high elbow, with the one-arm guillotine. It helps with the Guillotine. It'll help you get a Darce. It'll help you get an Anaconda. All of your chokes. If he's doing this, that's going to make all of your chokes a lot harder to get. So being able to really open them up expose this neck area is really helpful. So we're just going to drill that for a bit right now, okay? So let's partner up and work on that for a bit. That's looking good, so let's go to the next step. So, and this is where, especially for me, things start to get hard, just because, again, I'm not good at this choke, for no other way to put it. Just a couple of points I want to make sure I point out and make sure I say, so that everyone has them. So, okay, so we've got our entry, chin strap, pass over, front headlock, and two things, I was saying it to everyone individually, but I want to make sure I say it, is one, if I can see the back of his neck, I don't have the headlock tight enough. If I'm like this is already less, this is, I'm getting more pleasant for you, right? Mm-hmm. Because now he can move his head because I don't have a tight fit because I can see the back of his neck. A kind of a little rule you can use to make sure it's tight enough, you want your shoulder to come to the base of his neck. So when I'm here, I want my shoulder here. Now I can't see the base of his neck anymore. Now try to get it back.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I was saying this again to everyone individually, I wanted to make sure I said it on YouTube as well so everyone can hear it, is it becomes tighter if you look away from the head. So just if I'm like this, just look what happens to my shoulder if I'm in this position and I look in the direction of the headlock. So that shoulder moves back and it's not a lot, but he gets more space now. And that makes everything less pleasant. And again, considering that the choke is one of the harder chokes to finish, you want every advantage you can have. So when you've got it, shoulder on the back of the neck, and look away. And that makes everything automatically a bit tighter. Okay? So just want to make sure I pointed those things out. Now to the next step in order to get the choke. And this is where things get kind of interesting. So yeah, just pass it over in the front head. Okay? Now, just like with all of the other guillotines, you want to have the pressure on the artery. General rule of thumb with every choke, the solution is never press harder. Okay? It's never squeeze more. That's never the right answer, because if the mechanics are correct, you're not choking air, you're choking blood. And if your mechanics are correct, he has max 10 seconds. It should be that he falls asleep without realizing that the choke is coming on sometimes. And again, we've done it, it happens. So if you're choking correctly, he shouldn't be tapping because it's unpleasant. He shouldn't be tapping because you're crushing his windpipe and he can't get air. He should be tapping because you're cutting the blood off to his brain and he's starting to see black. Okay? And if he's not seeing black, he might tap in training, but he's not going to tap in a tournament. If you're in a tournament and it's unpleasant, but you know you're not going under, again, we've both had this situation in tournaments. So if you know it's unpleasant, but it's not going to put you to sleep, you don't tap. People will not tap to stuff like that, especially, I mean, even at small local tournaments. And then imagine you're at something big like an IBJJF Europeans, that's in Rome. You're paying for a flight to Rome, a hotel, food, the entry fees like 150 euro, and then you have to buy an IBJJF membership, which is another 100 euros. So just for that tournament, you're giving out like 1,000 euro. And if someone's just got you on like a little, oh, this doesn't feel pleasant, you're not tapping to that. You paid so much money, you want to win the damn thing, so you're not going to tap unless you're going out. And there will be people who prefer to go out than tap. So that's just something I like to point out, because I see so many people, they get something that's not quite in, and they just squeeze, and people tap to that in training, because they have to go to work the next day, and they don't want to talk like this at work, because you press that, because you haven't tapped. But they're not going to tap to that when it counts, and that gives you kind of a false sense of security in your own choke. And then you go to a tournament and you do the same thing and you wonder why it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. That's why. So let's just take it from front head up. So now coming here. So what I want to do from here, okay, I've got the front headlock, my hand is pretty firmly on your Adam's apple, isn't it? Okay? Yeah, you can hear just from the way he's talking, it's like, it's not pleasant, but again, in a tournament, he's not going to chap to that. So what I want to do is I want to shift so that my hand is here on the side. Turn around a bit so other way. So I want to turn my hand so that my thumb starts going in here, and I want to start kind of scooping in with the thumb with my own, and using my own hand as a support. So it should be sort of this kind of a scooping motion, but here on the side of the throat, not on the Adam's apple, okay? Again, people will tap to that in training. It is horribly unpleasant, but when you're at big tournaments where people gave a lot of money to take part and there's stuff at stake, people will take a crushed throat if it means they win the prize. So you want to shift everything over from here to here. And notice what I just did. I'm not just using my hands, I'm actually shifting my elbow, this elbow up a bit, and I come over here. Now this is a lot tighter, isn't it, Jan? Okay? So it's to show it without someone. So I'm here, and I'm raising everything up, and then taking a step around, so that my hands are more like this. I mean, I'm exaggerating right now, I'm not going to be this close, but it's more like this than like this, okay? And this automatically makes everything tighter, all right? So, again, I don't want to finish, I just want to add that movement to the series now. So, showing the whole thing. Yeah, whole thing now. Okay, so I pull him, get my leg free, grab the chin strap, turn over, pull the arm up, transfer over, split under the armpit, and grab my front headlock. Now, from here, this elbow comes up, and that's where it shifts everything over, and I move him over here. And now everything's a lot tighter. Yeah, okay? I think that says it all right there. It's like, okay? And so just add that one motion. So lift everything up, shift it over, and turn it to the side, okay? So we're not going to finish the choke yet, but this is where things just start to go, I don't like this anymore. Okay? So it's clear what I want? Yes. Okay, partner up. So this transition's starting to look good, and now let's work on actually finishing the choke. And for safety reasons, I want to add a quick rule so that none of us accidentally wind up choking our training partners to death. Again, a couple of things from an accident that happened where I accidentally choked someone out who will remain nameless. I realized me as a coach, I could have done a few things better. I will freely admit, when it happened, I was so shocked that I was kind of in a panic. It's like, oh my God, he's asleep with a, I mean, I just finished a refresher to my first aid course. I know technically what I should have done. I was just in the moment so scared that I accidentally put someone to sleep. I just wasn't thinking about it anymore. So I want to make sure that none of us makes that mistake from now on. So when we're practicing finishing a choke, okay, when you are the person getting choked in practice, I want you to start the minute everything is in. I want you to start saying 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? And keep going until you tap, because that way, if you suddenly stop talking, your training partner knows, oh, I accidentally put you to sleep, okay? So because there's always, this actually is what happened yesterday when I accidentally put someone to sleep. Everyone who was watching thought he was just not tapping. We thought he was resisting the choke and didn't want to tap because he wanted to test it. None of us realized he had gone to sleep. I think I was actually choking him longer than I should have. He's okay, don't worry, no one got hurt. But it's just the sort of thing, it went on longer than I would have liked. So from now on, when we're practicing a choke, let's just do the most easy choke just so I can point it out. So the minute we hit here, and we're going to the finishing touches, my training partner starts to say 1, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Yeah. It's not pleasant, I know, but you have to remember the choke is blood, not air. So you shouldn't worry about air that much. But again, just keep saying 1, 2, or just hum, or what make a sound so that your partner knows you're still awake. So that when you stop making a sound, he knows you're not awake anymore. Okay?
Maybe humming is a little bit too silent.
Huh?
Or
Maybe humming. A clear sound.
Yeah.
You can say a story, you can talk about sex with your wife, I don't care. Just make some sort of sound so that your training partner knows you're awake. Okay? So anytime you're drilling a choke and you're wanting to make sure your mechanics are in, just make a sound, clear, audible, easy to understand you are still awake so that your opponent knows you didn't go to sleep yet, okay? And just so you know, so your opponent knows when you stop making a sound, oh, you went to sleep? I need to lay you on, stop choking you now. And safety rule, as long as we're choking, okay, just let's say I accidentally choked you out unconscious, lay down. Just lay down, face down, okay? Okay, very basic first aid, okay? Do not turn him on his back. First of all, take care of his head. And if you don't want to do it alone, start saying, hey, I made someone go to sleep, help me, okay? And let people help you out. So pull his arms in. If you don't think you can do it alone, say, hey, can someone help me? You take his legs, protect his head. We start to turn him on his side, okay? One arm goes here, like he's sleeping like a baby, okay? And you want him to stay here. Don't turn him on his back. It's not probably that much of a danger, but if for some reason someone were to start, vomiting, then he could choke on his own vomit. This way he's safer, okay? So you turn him on his side. You do not turn him on his back, okay? And don't worry about lifting up his legs to get the blood to go to his head. That's bullshit. That's not true. Yeah, I know everyone thinks, oh, make the blood go to his head. No, that's what the heart does. If he has cardiac arrest, picking his legs up doesn't help. Okay? So just quick safety tip I wanted to make sure everyone knows. I want that to be our standard when we're practicing chokes from now on, just so that everyone has that in mind. And the most important thing is if your opponent goes to sleep, don't panic. He has time. If you immediately let go of the choke, the blood starts to flow again. Again, you have to remember, it's just blood loss, so he should start coming to fairly quickly, and he's not going to start getting brain dead inside of a second. You have time to lay him on his side, okay? And do not chaotically throw him around so that his head hits the floor or anything, okay? Just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So, now to the actual choke. Sorry, just important safety. Okay, so our same position, I get my leg free, chin strap, shift over, transfer the chin strap, pull his arm from my axle, get my front pedal up, and now shift up, move over, and here's where things start to get important because I don't want to fall on my back. I want to go either to closed guard or half guard, and in doing so, I want to fall on this side. The side where his head is should be the same side that I fall on. Like this, okay? And the big mistake a lot of people do is they pull, I'm going to let go. Yeah, I'm going to let go. A big mistake, I was worried about you right there, actually. I can feel it. This is tight. A big mistake a lot of people do, actually go away so I can just kind of show it. A big mistake a lot of people make when they're trying to do finishing a guillotine is they have it here, this is all nice and tight, and then they do this. And you can actually see immediately the space between my hand and my shoulder opens up when I do that. And this is actually going to help him escape because the choke becomes looser, it's not as tight, and then I don't have the same finishing mechanics. What I want to do, once I get in here, my shoulder, arm, and head stay where they are, and I bring my hips in. And you can actually see, this moves my arm in, and this hole becomes smaller. Okay, it's hard to put because I would normally use the leg on his back to pull me in, but what you're trying to do instead of pulling back with your head, you want to crunch, basically. So bring everything tight and in, and not like this. This is the death call for any guillotine choke, anytime you're doing that. Because you're opening up the arm and you're allowing him to get air and blood flow again. Okay? So, and this is, for me personally, my number one mistake that I make when I'm trying to finish the Arm-In Guillotine. I do this all the time. This is why, again, I'm not good at this choke. And it's an easy thing to do because, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It feels strong. It feels like a good, strong movement. But the problem is you don't want strength, you want tight. And by moving out like this, I get strength, but I lose the tightness. And that's what's making the choke work, not my strength. Okay? So always keep that in mind. You do not want powerful, you want tight. Actually, when the choke is really tightened in, it should feel easy to choke someone. And this is again why I keep saying the answer is never choke harder. The answer is never squeeze more. The answer is always improve your mechanics. That is going to get you the choke. Okay? So let me actually finish it now, just so I can show what I mean. And again, remember the 1-2. Okay? So I come in, free my leg, switch over, chance for chin strap, get my front headlock, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and crunch back. Yeah. Okay, but did everyone see? My shoulders did not move. Okay? I bring my hips in. That's what's making the choke work. And as you saw, the minute I brought my hips in, that tap came quick. Okay? Because again, that's what we want. If we are choking someone for more than 10 seconds and he's not tapping, the choke isn't there.